Good morning, students. How are you all? I hope you are fine. As we were doing with the chapter Rise of Jainism and Buddhism, in our last online class we had studied about sources to reconstruct the two religious reform movements, Jainism and Buddhism. In that we had learned about the literary sources and the archaeological sources. In literary sources we had learned about Jataka tales, the Tripitakas and 12 Angas. Jataka tales describes about the life of Gautam Buddha. The Tripitaka describes about the Sutta Pitaka, Adhamma Pitaka and Vinaya Pitaka. 12 Angas is the doctrine written by the Jain gurus or the Jain Tirthankars. In archaeological sources, you have learned about Sarnath Pillar, Jain Temple, Shravan Belgola in Karnataka, Sachi Stupa and the Gandhar School of Art. You have learned also about the political history of India in the 6th century BC and why Magad became a powerful kingdom. So why Magad became a powerful kingdom? Because it has surplus fertile plain and it has surplus quantity of iron. It has large standing army and they used elephants in the war. So these were the main points which tells us about the importance of the Magad. Do you know, children, about the causes which favored the rise of Jainism and Buddhism? Okay, I'll tell you that. Besides intellectual unrest, there were many social and economic inequalities existing during the 6th and 5th century BC. Okay, so there were unrest in the hearts of the common people because they were not equal in comparison to the high class society people. There were vast differences. They were not allowed to come into the temples. They were not allowed to come into the villages. They have a separate life. So there were vast differences in between the high class and the low class society during the 6th and the 5th century BC. People wanted a different kind of society and a different system of religion. So people, the common people, the low grade people, they want a different kind of society. They want that society which welcomed them. Causes which favored the rise and growth of Jainism and Buddhism were as follows. So now the first cause was ritualistic Vedic religion. The simple religion of the early Aryans was replaced by the meaningless rituals and complicated ceremonies. Okay, as you have learned in the early Vedic period, the rituals and the ceremonies were very simple. But when we compared it with the later Vedic period, so when later Vedic period came, all these ceremonies and rituals became very complicated. The ceremonies were so complicated that common people were not able to perform, and they were so costly also. The rites and the ceremonies were too costly for ordinary people to perform. They became discontented with the religious beliefs and practices of that age. So they were not able to follow the system and they want a new religion. Second point describes about killing of the animals to perform sacrifices. The simple sacrifices of the early Vedic period were discarded and replaced by the expensive yajnas. Okay, so early Vedic period, as I have already told you, that they believe in a simple system, in a simple religious ceremonies, but it was discarded and it was replaced by the expensive yajnas. A large number of animals had to be killed for the ceremonial sacrifices and yajnas. A new agricultural economy based on iron plowed needed all the more animals to plow the peasants' fields. People therefore resented such meaningless sacrifices which required the indiscriminate slaughter of animals to appease the god. So people don't want, the low grade people don't want that their animals should be used for the sacrificing purpose. They want a simple life. They want to please God with their simple ceremonies and inexpensive rituals, but it was not allowed for them. as it was the society related to the Brahmins. The Brahmins were ruling on the society. Even the king was under the control of the Brahmin priest. So it was very difficult for them to lead a simple and calm and quiet life. Third point describes about the supremacy of the priestly class. With the introduction of the elaborate rites and rituals, the priestly class came to occupy a position supremacy in the society. As I've already told you that this society is totally based on the Brahmins, based on the priestly class. The priestly dominated the life of a man from birth to death. So they were dominating the people. They were controlling their life, their birth and their death. People turned against the priest who made their religion complicated. So common people, because it is very difficult for them to follow this expensive or difficult religious ceremonies, so they were totally against of these ceremonies, and they were totally against of the priest. Expensive. Okay, so they were totally against of the priest who made their religion complicated, expensive and burdensome. In fourth point, we will see the caste system. In the course of time, the caste become rigid, like watertight compartments. So the caste was very rigid. The rigid system was there related to the caste. Caste was decided according to the birth, not according to the profession. Okay, if a person is born in a low grade family, in a high grade family, so he will be belong to that caste. People who, according to the profession, people who belong to the lower caste were ill-treated. Okay, those who were born in a lower class or lower caste, they were ill-treated by the high class society. The institutions of the untouchability also came into being. The intellectuals and the reformers naturally resented such unjust social distinctions among the people. So the social reformers, like Mahavira, Gautam Buddha, they were asking the questions from these upper class people, that why the system is prevailing in the society, why there is a difference between the man. The Buddhist Sangha was therefore thrown open to all equality. So Buddhist Sanghas is related to Buddhism, a new religion which was started by Gautam Buddha. It was open for all people. For all means for untouchables, for low grade people. And these low grade people, low caste society people wanted to go to these Buddhist Sangha and they wanted to follow the Buddhism. Difficult Vedic language is the fifth point, which describes about the Vedic literature has been written in Sanskrit. Okay, the Vedic literature has been written in Sanskrit, which was beyond the comprehension of the common people. Okay, people were not able to understand the Vedic literature as it was written in Sanskrit. They were not able to understand that language. Many could not understand the Vedic mantras repeated by the Brahman priest. Our sixth point describes about the efforts of the religious reformers. The unrest against the evil that had crept into the Vedic religion and society led to the rise of the number of intellectuals and holy men. They questioned the efficacy of the meaningless rituals and the supremacy of the priestly class. So these religious people like Gautam Buddha, Mahavira, they asked the questions from these Brahmins that why there is a difference between the high class and the low class people. Why these ceremonies are performed? What is the use of these expensive ceremonies and difficult religious doctrines? The simple life of the teachings of these holy men like Vardhaman Mahavira and Gautam Buddha attracted many who were longing to be liberated from the oppression of the Brahmanical order. So many people, that common people, they were so much interested in the life of Gautam Buddha. Why? Because their life was very simple. They wanted to follow their teachings, they wanted to follow their life. So many people were attracted towards the simple life and teachings of these holy men. Do you know, children, about the life of Vardhaman Mahavira and Jainism? Okay, according to Jain tradition, the teachings of Jainism were the work of 24 Tirthankaras or spiritual gurus. So, it is related to 24 Tirthankaras. Tirthankaras are the teachers of the Jainism, or we can call them spiritual gurus. The Jains believe that Jainism is as old as the Vedic religion. Okay, so it is just like a Vedic religion, as old as a Vedic religion. The first Tirthankara was Rishabh, also known as Adinath. The last two Tirthankaras were Parashwarnath and the Mahavira. So who were the last two Tirthankaras? Parashwarnath and Mahavira. Now we will learn about Mahavira. Mahavira's original name was Vardhaman and he was born at Kundagram, now known as Basukunda, in the modern district of Muzaffarpur in Bihar. No one is certain about his death or birth, but historians believe that he was born in 599 BC. His father Siddhartha was the head of the Kshatriya clan and his mother Trishula was a Lichvi princess, sister of Chetaka, the ruler of Vaishali. Since Chetaka's daughter Chelana, okay, please listen it carefully. Chetaka's daughter Chelana was married to Bimbisara. Chetaka's daughter Chelana was married to Bimbisara. Mahavira was related to the members of the eminent dynasty of Magad. So in this way, Vardhaman Mahavira was related to Bimbisara. That is why Bimbisara was helping Mahavira. Though Vardhaman was instructed in all the branches of knowledge, he showed more interest in spiritual matters. Okay, he shows more interest in spiritual matters rather than in any other things. He was married to a beautiful princess, Yashoda. What was the name of his wife? Yashoda. And a daughter was born to them. When he was 20 years old, after the death of his parents. Okay, how old he was? 20 years old. Vardhaman renounced all worldly pleasures. He has left all the worldly pleasures and he left his home also in search of truth. He lived the life of an ascetic and practiced rigorous penance and deep meditation. Okay, so he had practiced a very difficult life and a deep meditation. In the 13th year of his life, as an ascetic, he attained the true knowledge. So at what time he has attained the true knowledge? In the 13th year of his life. He attained the true knowledge and it was known as the Kevala Jana. And do you know, children, that Vardhaman came to be known as Mahavira, the great hero? It was also known as Jinnah. Jinnah means the conqueror of oneself. And his followers came to be known as the Jainas. After attaining spiritual knowledge, he traveled from place to place preaching his doctrines. He received support from the royal families of the Kosala, Magad and Avanti, etc. Means he received support from the royal family, the king's family, and especially from the Kosala, Magad and Avanti. Bimbisara and Ajatashatru of Magad honored him highly. He attained nirvana at the age of 72 at Pawa in Patna district. So in this way he was died at Patna district.